Welcome to Channel U.S. Ambassador to Canada Pete Hoekstra tried to shame Canadians, claiming they aren't passionate enough about America. But when Prime Minister Mark Carney was asked about those remarks, he didn't hold back. Instead of brushing it off, Carney fired back, turning the spotlight on U.S. weakness, not Canada's. His response was more than a rebuttal. It was a warning, a line in the sand. Carney made it clear. Canada will not be lectured by Washington, will not bow to American hypocrisy, and will only strike deals that put Canadians first. This wasn't just directed at Hoekstra. It was aimed straight at Trump. And the message was unmistakable. The era of bullying Canada is over. For context, U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra recently complained that Canadians lack passion for the U.S.-Canada relationship. While he acknowledged that the business community remains engaged, he argued that ordinary Canadians no longer share the same enthusiasm. He called the trend disappointing. U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra went public with his complaints, lamenting that Canadians lack passion for the U.S.-Canada relationship. He admitted the business community still cares, but ordinary Canadians? Not so much. He called it disappointing. But as we broke down yesterday, this isn't mystery. Canadians aren't distant because of neglect. They're distant because Washington burned the relationship. Trump launched a trade war against Canada, dismissed our prime minister as a mere governor, and treated Canadian sovereignty as expendable. Trust was broken. Respect was destroyed. So when Hoekstra grumbled about disappointment, it wasn't analysis, it was projection. America blaming Canada for the fallout of its own actions. Then came Mark Carney's response. Asked about Hoekstra's remarks, the Prime Minister didn't dodge. He laid down 3 clear points. First, the kind of big deal Hoekstra hinted at isn't even on the table, and won't be unless it serves Canadian interests. Second, Canada already has a working, practical trade framework. We're not chasing grand bargains for show. Third, Canada will only sign agreements that protect Canadian workers, sovereignty, and industries. This wasn't bluster, it was strategy. Carney didn't rant. He didn't insult. He projected calm strength. And that's what unsettles Washington most, because Trump and his envoys thrive on chaos, bullying, and emotional reactions. Carney gave them none of that. Instead, he gave them reality. Canada will engage where there's benefit. If not, Canada has other options with Mexico, Europe, and Asia. The United States is no longer Canada's only path forward. For Canadians watching, this was reassurance. Families and businesses still remember the pain of Trump's tariffs. They don't want to see Ottawa bowing to those tactics again. Carney's message was clear. Those days are over. By saying a bigger deal isn't on the table right now, Carney was rejecting talks. He was creating leverage. He left the door open, but only if terms are fair and reciprocal. That's how you negotiate from strength. You don't beg for talks. You make others bring real offers. Canada isn't desperate. Canada is secure, and that contrast matters. While Carney speaks like a statesman, Hoekstra sounds like a frustrated envoy scolding a neighbor. His complaints make Washington look petty and weak, while Canada looks calm and confident. Carney's words weren't just directed at Washington. They were meant for Canadians, too. Your government won't be pushed around. That matters, because Canadians have lived through the damage of one-sided deals before. Carney is showing he's learned those lessons. And under his leadership, Canada won't make the same mistake twice. For Washington, his words are a warning. Don't mistake openness for weakness. Canada will talk, but only as an equal. Hoekstra and Trump miscalculated if they thought they could shame Canada into warmer feelings. What they revealed instead is America's frustration, because the old playbook, divide, pressure, dominate, no longer works. Canada today is more independent, more diversified, and less reliant on Washington than at any point in modern history. Carney's strength isn't rhetoric. It's backed by strategy. Canada has deepened ties with Mexico, advanced ambitious trade deals with Europe and Asia, and is building resilience in energy, agriculture, and critical minerals. Diversification means choice, and choice means power. That's the reality Trump and Hoekstra are confronting. Ironically, Hoekstra tried to frame Canadians as cold and ungrateful. But after Carney's response, it's Washington that looks petty, and Canada that looks composed. When you treat an ally as expendable, don't be surprised when that ally stops showing passion. When you attack sovereignty, don't be shocked when sovereignty is defended. Carney turned Hoekstra's jab into a showcase of Canadian strength. His stance makes one thing clear: Canada will only deal on fair terms. Canada will not bow to American hypocrisy. And if the U.S. thought it could pressure Ottawa into submission, it miscalculated. What Hoekstra revealed wasn't Canada's disappointment. It was America's desperation. And under Carney,